Hey, what's up everybody? It's Kellen here from Start Your Systems, and welcome to a little gameplay video, I guess you would call it, on a track, two tracks actually, that I built for this game. I did a video previously explaining that I would do a baseball stadium, my ideas for baseball stadiums, as I did two ideas for football stadiums, and so now I'm showing you guys what I was able to come up with in a baseball stadium. So this first track is called SYS_ My A1 Concept. And I mean, the title of the track pretty much gives away what it's supposed to be. It is my idea for a good track that could be used for Anaheim 1 every year. It's in the outdoors, small, like realistic size diamond stadium. So I did the best I could to get it squeezed in there. And I'll try to talk you through some of the elements of the track that I decided to include, but basically what I went for with this track as opposed to the second track you'll see me play is I tried to keep it like relatively toned down because it's an A1 track replica, or I guess not a replica, but like my idea for an A1 track. They always start off the year every year with tracks that are like pretty mellow for the most part. There's nothing like really big or crazy about it. So you can see like the first four corners on the track is nothing really crazy. Like there's the over-under jump that you go over, then swing around and come back under, but that's really it. Like there's a small little loop section on either side of the over-under, and then you don't even hit anything like really gnarly until the Supercross triple 5 corners into the first lap. And then there's only this kind of small rhythm section along the third base side that ends up in left field. Yeah, like I said, it's just in general it's kind of mellow. Like there's not a big rhythm section, the whoops are pretty small. This little section back and forth here is pretty tame. The one thing about it that is unique is it's really turny, if that's a word for it. There's a lot of turns, it's a lot of twists and stuff like that. It's pretty wide open at the beginning, like this section coming across the start straight, you get going pretty fast, get stopped for this corner, and then come back across the start straight, and this is pretty fast as well. So it's fairly fast at the start, but then you get into this little more tech stuff here, and it slows down a little bit, but for the most part, it's pretty straightforward track. Like there's nothing super huge about what I'm doing. I tried to make 2 different rhythm lanes here. Like you could go inside and then over and then triple triple, or you could go outside and double triple double and then triple right there. Totally messed up the inside line that I have been taking, but yeah, like I said, just tried to keep it mellow. More so in this, you know, like if you watched my football stadium tracks that I made, they were pretty tight within the stadium. Like I didn't leave a lot of room along the sidelines, which is not very compliant with what they do when they actually build a Supercross track these days. They leave a lot of room on the sides of the stadium. This corner right there is the closest it gets to the edge of the stadium at any point. Yeah, I don't know. I just tried to keep it in mind as if I was designing it like it was actually going to be put into a stadium. I think it still would actually need to be cramped down a little bit more. Like I still feel like there's maybe a few too many elements mixed in. But for the most part, I feel like I was able to make it work for what would actually go in Angel Stadium. And the reason that I built, so the second stadium that I put it in is the indoor stadium. And that one it's roughly based off of the dimensions at Chase Field in Arizona. But it also has like the outfield walls noticeably there. Whereas on this one, the outfield walls, like if the baseball diamond was actually here, the outfield walls aren't really like there. It's just like this really long curvature in the outfield. And the reason I'm bringing this up is because Anaheim 1, what they do for the Anaheim 1 and Anaheim 2 races is they actually completely take out the outfield wall that, you know, like if you're playing baseball in it, you'd have to hit a home run over that wall. They completely take it out. So there's a little bit more room to move around at the back end of the stadium here. Like more personnel can move around, the riders have more space, all that stuff. So that's why I went with this particular layout and design in this stadium, just because it would fit the Anaheim look a little bit more. I feel like I'm talking too much about what it would look like in Angel Stadium. In general, some of my ideas with this, I used a lot of the back and forth across the start straight, which if you watch my football stadium custom track video, I did the same thing there. So back and forth, back and forth. I feel like if you're going to have a start straight this big, or just have a start straight in a Supercross stadium at all, you have to use it. Like I see some people trying to make tracks, or I've seen actual, Supercross tracks before where they use the start straight and then absolutely never touch it again. I just feel like that wastes so much space that could be used for the racing surface. So that's why you see this track here. It goes back and forth across the start straight on 3 different occasions. Lap times maybe a little shorter than I would hope. I think it would probably be, if you put real riders on a track like this, they would probably be able to get down into like the 53-ish second range. So that's a little bit short for Anaheim 1 because they can really use the baseball stadium to their advantage and expand the lap times. Because one thing that not many people seem to really understand is that the baseball stadium floor space is actually quite a bit bigger to work with than at a football stadium. Football stadium, if they go end zone to end zone and use that entire lane, that is max about 330 feet, and you probably can't even go that full distance. It's 300 and, let me get this right, it's 360 feet total used space end zone to end zone, but the end zone pretty much ends in a football stadium where the wall is, whereas in a baseball stadium, from where they would bat the ball until the very outfield, like center field area, that's 400 feet. So that's already an extra like 50 or so feet to use. And then they, where they bat the ball from at home plate is still 20 or so good feet, maybe even 30 or more sometimes, away from the wall that's right next to the dugouts and stuff like that. So they have a lot of room to work with. And then of course you expand it on either side. The dimensions make it such that it's a little bit harder to incorporate like long rhythm lanes, which is why you see on this track, it's kind of, pretty turny and not a lot of options available, I think, beyond that. Man, I really want to get that triple line that I built into this, and I tested it over and over again, and I felt like it was so easy. And then now that I'm actually trying to show it off, I can't get it once. But yeah, just following along with some of the themes that you normally see at A1. Like I said, easy design, pretty well made simple. I just feel like a unique track design like this would lend to a little bit better racing. It is pretty turny, so I think it would probably develop into pretty one-lined racing, but there's a lot of 180s to set up passes, unorthodoxly angled corners as well. Like there's that corner right there is like a 140, and then back-to-back 180s right after that, so you could get set up a couple different ways. So here we go, 3, and then 3 again. I don't know why I can't get it. I was able to get it like 4 times in a row testing the track, and then since then I haven't got it. So let me know what you guys think about this track. I will dive into the second track in just a moment, but this track is one of the more mellower tracks that I'll probably ever make. I usually like a lot of really big whoop sections, long rhythms, all that stuff, but just putting myself in the shoes of the Dirtworks and now Feld track crew, what's a track that's going to be relatively safe off the start, a track that uses most of the floor space, that gives room around the corners of the stadium so that people can get around. I don't know. I feel like this is a unique design, but doable on some level. Jump into this corner here. So yeah, I think I'll, before this race is even over, I'll go ahead and stop it right about here, and I'm going to go ahead and move to the second track, so I'll see you guys on the other side of this quick little transition screen. Track number 2 coming up. Alright guys, welcome back. This is my SD concept track. It's called SYS_my SD concept on the PC. I called it that because this is what I would like to envision a track possibly being in Petco Park at some point in the future, or maybe even Oakland Alameda Coliseum. I think both would work. But this is incorporating the length of the stadium that I talked about, making long rhythm sections, long whoop sections, using a lot of back and forths, kind of like you would see in a football stadium, but also using those edges of the diamond a little bit more. I'll try to, like I say, talk you through some of these sections. My gosh, I can't believe how bad I'm riding these tracks. But yeah, so this one is way more technical, and that's because, like, thinking about San Diego this year, it was round 6. For those of you that like don't know what I'm talking about here, Feld and the Dirtworks track crew and all those guys, they make the first couple rounds real easy to try to keep people in the series because they don't want people getting hurt. And as the series gets deeper, they start to design more technical tracks. And so by round 6 in San Diego, which was this year, it was the last baseball stadium that they raced in all season long, they usually have come around to making quite a bit more technical tracks. And that's why I made 2 really different types of tracks for my custom diamond baseball stadium-esque tracks. One that's mellow, could be an A1 track, that's why I called it my A1 concept. And one that's really technical and has a lot of different unique elements to it that you don't necessarily see very often. And that's why it's the SD concept. So it's basically like a round 1 versus a round 6 in a baseball stadium. This one is in the indoor baseball stadium, so it's the Chase Field replica, which Chase Field and Petco Park don't necessarily have very similar dimensions, but they have, really baseball-oriented dimensions because they are both baseball stadiums. You may not know this, but Angel Stadium was actually at one point a multi-purpose stadium, so it's not like a completely perfect baseball diamond. But Chase Field and Petco Park were both built for baseball only, so they are more baseball designed. This one you can see like very clearly where the outfield walls are and stuff like that. So yeah, we don't go to Chase Field anymore. We go to University of Phoenix Stadium in Glendale, Arizona, instead of in downtown Phoenix where Chase Field is. But this is, if they still went to Chase Field, obviously I would have called it that, but now I just called it my SD concept. So yeah, 2 long whoop sections, or fairly long whoop sections, mixed into the middle of this track right here, using the whole length of the stadium to build that sweeper into a little kink back across the start straight. And then I actually am a little bit mad because I built this section to work a lot better than it is right now. Initially, it was so easy to get over that on-off that I rebuilt it so that you had to actually kind of stretch it out a little bit. And now it seems like it's a little bit too technical, so I wish I would have gone back and fixed that, but oh well. Then jumping back over the start area, back over this, I wish you could get rid of that whole shot billboard, but whatever. Technical first rhythm section. I feel like rhythm section followed by whoop section is probably the only more dangerous thing you could do on the start of a Supercross is put a Supercross triple right there, and wouldn't you know it, it's like the 4th corner in. So it's a pretty dangerous start of the race because the rhythm section would cause people to hit the rhythm section a different way and then have the potential to get landed on, and then whoops are just treacherous when you're near people. So to have it that early in a lap would be kind of sketchy, but I don't know, I kind of feel like it could work here just because of the speed that you'd be going into the first rhythm section. There's a really big roller into it, so you wouldn't be going necessarily all that fast into it, and you'd kind of have to like roll through that first section a little bit, maybe get a couple doubles, do some on-offs, and then the whoops, I think people would be fairly spread out by then, so I don't think it's all that bad. But it definitely would be more of a treacherous track than my A1 concept was, where like I said, I kept in mind the first lap and how that would go. Oh, almost got that 5 out. But in general, more technical. Made a rhythm section right out of the start that right there you saw I doubled in. It jumps back over the first turn complex, so it kind of sets you up to do a couple different options there, but for the most part it sets you up to double and then either go on off or table over single or something like that. This section, I actually don't really like it that much because I was hoping to do something where you could either jump dragons back to dragons back and then double out, or do what I'm doing right now, which is jump down into the canyon of it and jump off the dragons back all the way out. But you can't get dragons back to dragons back. Either way though, I left it just the way it was because it's such a cool feeling to get the dragons back cleaned and then send that triple off the back of the dragons back face. The second one all the way out. I don't know, just felt good, and I really didn't want to change it. But from the finish line on, I really like the finish line till about that section. I like everything that I did. I feel like it flows pretty well. It's technical, so you have to get it right, but once you do get it right, it's got a good flow. Jeez, everybody's munched up right here. I like this section right here, a little technical double out of a corner and then a sweeper into a Supercross triple would get people going pretty fast into it, and we'd see some pretty good scrubs. And then right back into the bowl corners. But like seriously, look at this, just like sending the triple all the way into the corner. That's so cool. Get around these guys, get a little bit more free track. But yeah, these are my two concepts. They're not perfect. I'm not claiming like they're the most amazing tracks ever, but I feel like they're a little bit outside of the box. Like you don't see tracks like this all the time. This one utilizes going backwards down the start straight towards the start gate and then jumps over the first turn complex twice. I don't know, like I just feel like it's a design that would have potential to work and work pretty well, especially because there's so much room in these baseball stadiums. Like this one, I made such long rhythm sections and long whoop sections, and they're not the same lengths back and forth. Like this one has to cut short. It doesn't go all the way to where that other corner is because of the dimensions of the stadium. I personally like baseball stadiums a little bit more than the football stadiums, not because I'm a big baseball fan or anything, but I think they lend to making just better tracks, like more technical, unique looking type of tracks. The football stadium ones probably are better for racing just because there's so many bowl corners back to back to back to back like that. But I like the weird, quirky, not perfect back and forth type Supercross tracks like this one. I'm utilizing 90s. I'm utilizing corners that aren't complete 180s. This one is pretty back and forth, more or less football stadium style, like I said, but I think it works in a good element of, some 90s here and there, technical sections so that it's not completely a foregone conclusion everybody's going to be doing the same line the whole way through. I really do feel like that this is probably my favorite track that I've built. I like the A1 one, but I'm more of a technical Supercross type guy. I don't really like the whole cookie cutter, short-esque type tracks that are really fast and easy. I like these ones that are more technical. You really have to hit your marks. Oh, I was almost lapping Marvin. But I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts on these two tracks as a whole. What are some good ideas or bad ideas about them? What you like or don't like? Obviously, I'm not saying that these tracks are perfect, but I do really think that they are reasonably good ideas, that some of which could be utilized at some point. And I do also think I should note that these stadium dimensions are a little bit too big, I think. Like I really do feel that these tracks should, like each lane would have to have one less jump in it to make it work. Because I'm using not the entire stadium, like I could have gone all the way to the wall, but I was thinking more of like leaving the space near the wall. But regardless, it just seems like there's a little bit too much room in these stadiums. Not enough room in the football stadiums, and then too much room in the baseball stadiums. It's kind of weird, but whatever. So yeah, this is my SD concept. The first one was my A1 concept. I don't really have much more else to say about them, so I think that this is going to be the end of the video, but I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope you will download the tracks, try them out for yourself. Tell me what you like or don't like about them, and what you personally would like to see in a baseball stadium, something unique and different. I know you could get, there's people that are going to come and say you could get super crazy, put over-under bridges everywhere and all this stuff like that, but I was really, with these tracks, trying to think of like legitimate tracks that I could see Feld considering making. If you have more than one over-under bridge, it's never going to be made because there's never been more than one over-under bridge used. I think they only actually have one that they bring with them on tour, and for the most of the time, they don't even use the over-under bridge. So this track does a good job of not using the over-under bridge, but still providing a pretty unique track design. And yeah, I don't know. I think it'd be a pretty cool track. But yeah, that is my baseball stadium designs. Try them out. Let me know. Let me know your thoughts on the tracks in the comments below. And thanks for watching. It's another video here on SYS Complete. My name is Kellen, and I will see you guys in the next one.